You don't wake up. You don't have an alarm clock. You don't have a bed. You pop out of the ground like the universe's angriest potato, and the first thing you do is headbutt the nearest living thing. Welcome to being an orc. You spawn from a spore in some mud pit on a planet you'll never learn the name of because reading isn't really your thing. No mother, no father, no awkward childhood, just dirt, teeth, and an overwhelming urge to hit something. Somewhere in your fungal DNA buried deep by ancient lizard gods who made you as a weapon 60 million years ago, there's a simple instruction set. Fight, win, fight again. The lizard gods are dead. The instruction set is not. The first thing you notice is that you're green, not like a pleasant forest green, more like an infected bruise that learned to walk. You've got muscles in places that don't make anatomical sense, and teeth that grow back faster than you lose them, which is good, because teeth are money here, literally. Orc currency is teeth. The economy runs on punching people in the mouth. Whoever came up with that system deserves a promotion, except promotions also involve punching. So the whole thing is basically one big circle of dental violence. You can't read. You can't count past whatever number makes you angry, which is all of them. But you can strip a weapon, reload it using spit and faith, and instinctively know that red makes things go faster. Not metaphorically. If you paint something red and genuinely believe it goes faster, it does. That's not a joke. That's how orc physics works. Your species has a collective psychic field called the Way that bends reality based on what enough orcs believe at the same time. If enough of you think a gun works, the gun works, even if it's 3 pipes duct taped to a rock, especially if it's 3 pipes duct taped to a rock. Around you, everything is chaos. Beautiful, loud, disgusting chaos. A mech, that's an orc engineer, is welding scrap metal into something that might be a tank or might be a very aggressive filing cabinet. He doesn't know. Doesn't matter. If enough boys believe it's a tank, it'll drive. Another orc is riding a squig, which is basically an angry meatball with legs. Sometimes you eat them, sometimes they eat you. Sometimes both happens at the same time and everyone just sort of accepts it. Off to the side, a weird boy is vibrating. That's the psychic one. His brain collects all the wah energy floating around and does something with it. Sometimes he makes the enemy explode. Sometimes he makes himself explode. It's a coin flip. Nobody seems concerned about this. You ask what happens if he flips wrong. Someone shrugs and says they just get another weird boy. You stop asking questions. Then there are the Gretchen, tiny green grots that exist to be kicked, sat on, and occasionally used as ammunition. Below them, snotlings, even smaller, even more useless. They herd squigs and get stepped on. The entire orc ecosystem runs on a strict hierarchy of who can punch who, and everything at the bottom just hopes today isn't its turn. Your exploration of this wonderful society ends when someone clocks you in the jaw. No warning, no reason. Just a fist the size of a dinner plate connecting with your face at conversation speed. Your teeth leave your skull through a route they weren't designed for, and something in your brain clicks. Not anger, recognition. Oh, this is how we do things. You swing back, you connect. The other orc goes down. A small crowd of boys cheers. Not for you specifically. They'd cheer for anyone. They're cheering for the concept of violence itself, which is honestly the most orc thing possible. You're not a fresh spawn anymore. You're a boy now, which is orc for congratulations. You exist. Here's a shoota. The shoota looks like it was assembled by someone who had a gun described to them by someone who once saw a picture of a gun. It has a trigger, a barrel, and what might be a scope but is actually a bottle cap glued to the top. You pull the trigger. It fires. You don't care about ballistics. You care about DACA. More noise, more smoke, more DACA. The louder it gets, the better it works. Because deep down you know the noise is what actually kills. There's no training arc, no wise mentor, no montage. You learn by getting hit until you hit back harder. Some knob, that's an orc one rank above you, cracks you in the jaw whenever you do something wrong. Problem is, he also cracks you when you do something right. And when nothing happens, the cracking is the training. By week 2, your jaw is basically made of scar tissue and you've developed reflexes that would make a space marine uncomfortable. You start fighting internal fights because orcs don't just fight other species. They fight each other constantly for food, for weapons, for the best sleeping spot, which is whichever spot has the fewest things trying to eat you while you sleep. You win a few, lose a few. But here's the thing about being an orc. Losing doesn't really bother you. Getting hit doesn't really bother you. The only thing that bothers you is not having anyone to fight, and that never happens. So you're basically living your best life. One day, a knob who used to shove you in the mud backs off when you raise your weapon. Just like that, no ceremony, no promotion letter. He saw something in you that said, "This one bites back now," and decided his teeth weren't worth the risk. You're starting to matter, and when an orc starts to matter, the mob sorts you. That's where clans come in. You don't choose a clan. You just start acting a certain way and everyone else figures it out. If you charge headfirst into everything, you're leaning goth. Goths are the biggest, meanest, most direct orcs. Their battle strategy is walk forward and hit whatever's in front of you. It's not complicated, but it works disturbingly often. If you keep stealing things and painting them blue, you're a death skull. You didn't steal that Shuda. You found it before the original owner realized he'd lost it. And the blue paint on it? That's to make sure it doesn't explode in your hand. Most of the time, blue is lucky. Nobody knows why. Nobody asks why. It works because everyone agrees it works. And at this point, questioning orc logic is like questioning gravity. You can do it, but you'll still fall. If you're obsessed with speed and noise, evil sons, speed freaks. They paint everything red because red goes faster and they bolt rockets onto things that already have rockets. If your teeth grow fast and you buy the biggest guns, bad moons. They're the rich orcs, which means they have slightly nicer scrap than everyone else. Snake bites are the traditional ones. They still use squigs for everything and think technology is cheating. Blood axes are the sneaky ones. They make plans. Other orcs find this suspicious and possibly heretical. You lean goth, because subtlety is for species that have a word for subtlety, and you don't. You charge, you hit, you win, or you get hit back. Either way, you're having the time of your life. That's the thing nobody in this galaxy understands about orcs. Everyone else fights because they have to. You fight because it's amazing. Every species in the galaxy is miserable. Humans pray to a corpse on a throne and call it hope. Eldar cry over an empire they partied to death. Necrons are immortal metal skeletons who traded their souls for a warranty that expired 60 million years ago. Tyranids don't even have individual thoughts. And there you are, green, loud, and too busy laughing because the kick you just gave a grot was particularly funny to care about any of it. No soul to lose, no morality to weigh, no existential crisis, just fists and fun. You might be the only happy creature in 40,000 years of endless war. That's either beautiful or deeply concerning. The wog is building. You can feel it. Not in your brain because thinking isn't your strong suit. You feel it in your fists, in your gut, in the way the air buzzes when enough boys get angry in the same direction. When enough orcs gather, fight, build, and yell, the collective psychic energy hits a threshold and the whole mob launches into space to go ruin someone else's planet. There's no vote, no strategy meeting. One day, the boss points at the sky and says, "Dat way," and 2 million orcs pile into cruisers held together by welding and optimism. The cruiser smells like oil, fungus, and confidence. You don't have a seat. You don't have a room. You have a spot on the floor between a squig that keeps trying to eat your boot and a mech who's bolting a fourth rocket onto something that already has 3 rockets and no steering. The ship shouldn't fly. It flies anyway. Because enough orcs on board believe it flies, and that's apparently all the engineering you need. Your war boss is a Goth named Grodsmock. He's 3 meters tall, has a power claw where his left hand used to be, and once headbutted a dreadnought so hard it stopped working. Nobody elected him. He's the boss because he's the biggest, and nobody's managed to kill him yet. That's the entire political system. Democracy, but with fists. Honestly, it might be more efficient than whatever the Imperium is running. You hit dirt on some Imperial world that did absolutely nothing to deserve you. A mining colony. Quiet. Clean. Full of humans who've probably never seen anything louder than a heavy truck. Then, 1,000,000 orcs fall out of the sky screaming, "Wah!" And suddenly, their morning commute is a lot more interesting. You land running, your boots hit rockcrete, and you don't stop. Lace gun fire comes from somewhere to your left. Little red beams bouncing off your chest like annoyed mosquitoes. You look down. Your shirt has a scorch mark. You look at the humans shooting at you. They look terrified. You wave, not because you're being friendly, because waving your choppa in the air before charging is just good form. The Imperial Guard. Poor guys. They're out here with flashlights and cardboard armor trying to stop a tidal wave of green muscle that thinks dying is a minor inconvenience. You almost feel bad. Almost. Then, one of them shoots you in the shoulder, and your brain goes, "Oh good, they're participating," and you charge faster. Combat is everything you were born for. Literally. The old ones designed you 60 million years ago for exactly this moment. Your choppa connects with something. Sparks. Screaming. You don't know whose. Doesn't matter. A boy next to you gets blown apart by a heavy weapon. His spores settle into the dirt. In a few weeks, new orcs will grow from where he fell. Death is recycling. The species doesn't end. It just replants itself wherever it bleeds. You kill 4 guardsmen. A space marine shows up. Blue armor, big. Actually big enough to be interesting. He kills the boy next to you with a chainsword that sounds like an angry dishwasher. You charge him because of course you do. He hits you. You hit him back. He's better trained, better equipped, better in every measurable way. You don't care about measurable ways. You care about the fact that his head is right there, and your forehead is right here, and the distance between them is an opportunity. You headbutt a space marine. Your skull cracks a little. His helmet cracks a lot. He stumbles back and puts a bolt round through your kneecap. You fall. He raises his chainsword for the finishing blow. A truck, driven by a completely unqualified grot, slams into him from the side at 60 miles per hour. The space marine goes flying. The grot looks as surprised as everyone else. You get up. Knee doesn't work right. Doesn't matter. You've still got 1 good leg and 2 good fists, and that's more than enough. The battle lasts 3 days. You lose track of kills after the number gets too complicated. Your choppa breaks on day 2. You use someone else's. That one breaks too. Day 3, you're fighting with a pipe you pulled from a wall. It works fine. Everything works fine if you hit hard enough. Then the sky gets dark. Not clouds, not night. Something bigger. A cruiser dropping into atmosphere so fast it looks like the planet is growing a tumor. The front ramp drops and out walks the biggest orc you've ever seen. Power claw spinning slow, armor fused to skin, banner taller than buildings. Gazkul Mag Uruk Thraka, the prophet, the war boss of war bosses, the reason entire sectors file evacuation plans just from hearing his name. He doesn't talk. He doesn't need to. Every orc on the battlefield stops mid-swing and turns toward him, not out of fear. Orcs don't do fear, out of recognition. That's the biggest one, that's the boss. Whatever he says, that's what we do now. It's like watching gravity invent itself in real time. Your war boss, Grodsmock, the 3-meter dreadnought headbutter, takes one look at Gazkul and does the dumbest brave thing you've ever seen. He charges, raises his power claw, screams something about nobody being bigger than him. Gazkul doesn't even look at him, just swats him sideways with one arm. Grodsmock hits a building. The building loses. You have a new boss now. Everyone has a new boss now, and this boss has a plan. Well, plan is generous. He has a direction. Terra, the heart of the Imperium, the Emperor's throne world. He's going to take the biggest way the galaxy has seen in 8,000 years and point it at the most defended planet in existence. Because it's there, because it's a fight, because somewhere in his metal-plated skull, the orc gods Gork and Mork told him to. And when your gods are called Gork and Mork, you don't argue. You're in. Obviously you're in. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. You're marching to war against the most powerful empire in the galaxy with a prophet leading you and a million boys beside you and a gun that technically shouldn't fire but absolutely will because you believe it will. The Wade crosses star systems, eats worlds, grows. Every planet you hit adds more boys, more vehicles, more noise. Orc society is a snowball that only gets bigger and louder until it hits something hard enough to stop it. Nothing's been hard enough yet. You fight on 17 planets. You stop counting after 8 because the number gets boring. Each one is the same beautiful cycle. Drop, charge, fight, win or die. If you win, move on. If you die, your spores grow new orcs and they do it next time. The species doesn't have a concept of loss because loss requires caring about individual survival. And individual survival requires thinking about yourself as separate from the mob, and you've never done that. You are the mob. The mob is you. When you die, the mob continues. When the mob fights, you fight. It's the simplest and maybe the most honest philosophy in the galaxy. Then you reach Terra, golden towers, defense platforms, orbital guns already lighting up the sky. The most fortified planet ever built by the most paranoid species to ever exist. Trillions of humans, thousands of space marines, titans, orbital defense grids, the Emperor himself, 10,000 years of screaming psychic power holding reality together by sheer stubbornness. And you look at all of it and think, finally, a proper fight. The ramp drops. You hit the ground running because you've never done anything else. There's a golden figure ahead, tall, shining, probably important. You charge him because he's the biggest thing nearby and that's all the tactical assessment you need. He moves. You stop being a person with momentum. The hit comes so fast you don't remember it. Just the impact and the part where the sky got really close really fast. You die. But orcs don't do endings. Your body breaks down, spores sink into the dirt of Holy Terra itself. Time passes. 6 weeks later, pop, new orc, same fists, same volume. Doesn't remember anything, doesn't need to. Already screaming wah because that's the only word that matters. Orcs don't win. Orcs don't lose. Orcs just outlast everything else. And somewhere in the galaxy right now, a new spore is popping out of the ground, green and loud and completely incapable of fear, ready to do the whole thing again, because that's the life of an orc, and honestly, it looks like more fun than whatever you're doing right now.